Well, good morning. For those of you who may not heard of me or know of me, I was an engineer for 33 years at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, and you'll see, as my wife would say, remnants of that training in my talk today. So, as was mentioned previously, my friend Carol Glenn and I attend Unity of North Kitsap, and to be perfectly clear, I gave this talk at our service in November of 2016. But my work evolves. I was an engineer, but now I'm a mystic. And so a mystic then is someone who looks for the direct connection. Don't spend a lot of time reading, don't spend a lot of time taking classes, don't spend a lot of time watching DVDs. If you ask me if there's a book that I've read, the answer is probably no. But I spend a lot of time in meditation and being open to what comes and what happens. I like simple to learn, simple to remember, simple to do, and simple to teach. So I think that Spirit communicates with us in our own language. And sometimes, since it's in our own language, we don't hear it because it's along with whatever else is happening in life. I'll give you some examples today. You know, most people are surprised when I say I'm a mystic, especially my engineering friends. I had one engineering friend who was an electrical engineer, and he looked at me and said, "How could you be a mystic? I mean, how can you believe in this woo-woo stuff? I mean, this is just, I can't believe it. How could you possibly do this?" And I said, "Well, you're an electrical engineer." He said, "Yeah." I said, "So what's electricity?" That was the end of the discussion. He shut up and walked away because we really don't know what electricity is. So when people talk about spiritual energy, that's very much like electricity, like nuclear energy. We really don't know what it is. So we really don't know what electricity is, but do we use it? Absolutely, because it behaves certain ways and follows certain laws. At least we think so. So I want to share some wisdom with you from one of my mentors, Swami Beyondananda. Swami Beyondananda says that there are two types of mystics. There are the pessimistics and the optimistics. So the difference is that the pessimistics are more in touch with reality, but the optimistics are happier and live longer. So I'm hoping that all of you today will kind of think, well, I am sort of a mystic too. I am hopefully an optimistic. So there's in our culture, coming from Greek mythology, the talk of a golden age, and this in the Greek tradition there are different ages. There's gold, silver, bronze, and then the Iron Age. And I'm sorry to say that the tradition is that each age is worse. And so, but there is the promise that these recycle, so that as we go through the age of iron, then we'll come back into the golden age. And we often use this in our culture. We talk about the golden age of radio, the golden age of Hollywood. We talk about better times. So when I say that we're entering the golden age, that's a thought about returning to peace, harmony, stability, and prosperity. And the one I like most, very good health. So my theory then is that we can enter the golden age by raising our vibrations. I want to mention that my theory can be explained in 3 words. So the first word is happy. So the first word is happy. Okay? But I'm talking about happy as a spiritual practice. Today's daily word talked about meditation and things like that for spiritual practices. I call them spiritual practices. Being happy, I'm talking about using that as a spiritual practice. Well, our bodies are changing from a carbon-based structure to a crystalline-based structure. And this will then allow us, our physical bodies, will allow us to vibrate at a higher vibration, higher than ever before. So what is our part in that? What do we do in order to change from a carbon-based structure to a crystalline structure? And the answer is, you're already here, you signed up. That's all you have to do is be on the earth at this time, because it's just going to happen. I think the parallel would be like getting on an airplane to New York. So if we were going to go get on an airplane, if we were sitting on an airplane on the way to New York City, and some were reading, and some were sleeping, and some were eating, and some had to go to the bathroom, we'd all still end up in New York City. And that's the same thing. We're all going to have our bodies changed and having it changed. So what is our part in that? Well, that change, which is happening, can cause some physical pain and cause some things to change in our life. And the easiest way to help that and make it less painful is to be happy. You knew the answer. Is to be happy. To be happy. And what are some of the ways that we can be happy? So I want to introduce you to my morning spiritual practice. My morning spiritual practice is I do a stretch where I hold like a yoga cord, like that, and I turn in a circle and I look at everything that makes me happy. Everything that makes me happy. I don't look at something that needs fixing or doesn't work quite right or whatever it is. I look at everything that makes me happy. And when you do that, you discover that generally in the world, it makes you happy. If you focus on what makes you unhappy, then that's what will happen in your life. But if you look at what makes you happy, you will see what you look for. So that's a mystic's way of starting the day, is to look at what makes me happy. Another spiritual practice on being happy is to smile.
I agree with that.
There's a book called How God Changes Your Brain. How God Changes Your Brain. And one of the authors, well, I think both of the authors are, I think they're called neurotheologians. And what they are doing is they're studying the brain with scientific measurements and things like that. And when you're concentrating on God, when you're concentrating on things like uplifting, etc., your brain changes, your body changes, your body chemistry changes. And one of the simplest ways you can do that is by smiling. When you smile, your body physically gets better. The people around you smile back. And one of the things I've found traveling around the world is it's very universal. You don't have to speak the language, you don't have to know the culture, you don't have to know the religion, you don't have to know anything. If you just smile, people will smile back. And they are pleasantly disposed towards you. So as an engineer, to me, it just makes all sorts of sense. I mean, isn't that what you want to do? It's kind of like the WD-40 of life, right? Everything just kind of runs a little smoother. So, so being happy is, I think, a spiritual practice. Not just about feeling better, but a spiritual practice. There's only one major religion that uses it as a spiritual practice, and that's Buddhism. That's very interesting. Second word that uses smiling as a spiritual practice. They actually do that as a practice, and having known some Buddhist monks, I can tell you my experience, in my opinion, they are the happiest people of a religion that I know of, leaders of religion, is the Buddhist monks. And if you've seen the Dalai Lama, you can relate to that. They ask him a really deep spiritual question and very complex, and he'll look at him and say, I don't know. Inside. I like to say that everything we need, everything that we're looking for is inside. Probably a more accurate description is the connection to everything is inside. So if you're looking for peace, if you're looking for happiness, if you're looking for joy, if you're looking for love, if you're looking for anything like that, it's inside. It's who we are. We think it's out here, and we get distracted by it out here. And so I'm happy if my car starts. No, I'm happy because I'm happy, because I'm created to be happy. But as soon as, and again, a Buddhist, a Buddhist thought is that attachment is suffering. Because when you're attached to something out here, and it goes south, or however you want to say it, then you're unhappy. But happiness is actually part of who we are. So the third word then, so the first word is what?
Happy.
Second word is?
Inside.
The third word is connect. Now, what do I mean by connect? I don't know, I have to look at my notes. So God talks to us, or Spirit talks to us, or whatever you want to say, talks to us in our language. So in our family, we have a Nissan Leaf. A Nissan Leaf is a totally electric car, no gasoline engine. Okay? So so we have to hook it up to electricity to charge the battery. So there are 3 ways to charge a Nissan Leaf. And so if we were going to take a trip from here to Portland, for example, we can use one of those 3 ways. The first way is to plug it into a regular 120 outlet. Takes a long time. The next step is to use a 240 volt charger, which is the highest voltage that most of us have in our households. And that's a lot faster. We have one of those in our garage. It's a lot faster. And then the third way is to use it's actually like 480 or more voltage DC that charges directly to the batteries, not AC, it's DC. And there are some of these around. And one of the things that I didn't arrange with Mark in advance for is a little slide presentation of PowerPoint, so I'll tell you about it. Almost everyone here, everybody who's familiar with driving a gasoline car or a diesel truck, pretty much everyone, or used to drive one. And so I've got a slide that I like to show. It's the Shell station in Tumwater on I-5, and there are like 9 or 10 gasoline pumps there, and et cetera, and whatever. But off in the corner, there is a 240 charger and a 480 fast charger. And to me, that is a picture of our lives. Right now, you chose to come to the Unity service. You're here. There are a lot of other church services going on now, just like there are a lot of other gas pumps. But you've come here because of the connection here, and the importance and the way that you're able to connect here versus somewhere else. And so I think that if we drove from here to Portland in my Leaf and we decided we were going to charge by 120, it would take us 5-6 days, something like that, just to charge. That's not the driving time. That's just charging time. If we used a 240 charger, it would take us something like 8 or 10 hours, something like that. But if we used the fast charger, it would take us like an hour to 2 hours. So do you see the dramatic difference? If you can hook up and connect at the higher level. So I mentioned that everything that we have is inside, and that our connection is inside. And so there's a parallel. You came with a 120 volt connection. That's your connection to spirit. That's what's energizing the power that is you. That's the life force that's coming to you. But there's a level 2 connection. A lot faster, a lot better. Level 2 connection is through an avatar, through Jesus. And an example of this, Myrtle Fillmore. Does anyone remember Myrtle Fillmore healed herself, right? How did she do that? She did that. What? By affirmations. But she also did it through Jesus. Do you remember that? She had him sitting in a chair, didn't she? She had him sitting between her and spirit and source. She connected at a higher, what I call a level engineering, a level 2 connection. So because our bodies have changed enough to a crystalline structure, we are now able to connect at a 3rd level, level 3 level. And we'll do that during the workshop. So, get back to my notes here. There must be more to say. I have a demonstration. Carol, you want to give me a hand here? This is called a Van de Graaff generator. And you may be... So this generator generates static electricity. You want to hold it at the globe there? It's okay, it's not plugged in. So if you're within about a 10-foot radius of this, you'll need to not have a cell phone, and also not a pacemaker. At the globe, the silver part. There you go. Yeah. So if you have a cell phone, you may want to move, or you might want to move your cell phone. Let's see. And so, give me a little slack and let me come on over here. So right about here, no pacemaker, right, Teresa? No pacemaker, okay, good. And this is very, very conservative, so thank you. So I'm going to take this light bulb, so people are familiar with the light bulb. And that light bulb is going to represent, the light within us. And I'll connect up this wire, and I want to make sure that you understand this wire is not going to light the light bulb. What this wire is going to do is keep... What this wire is going to do is keep the electricity from going through Gale. Yes. Okay, yeah, so that's going to keep the so that's a grounding wire. I'm going to turn on this generator. So feel free to stand up. Feel free to come up without your cell phone, whatever you'd like to do. You can see 2 things are happening here. One is the electricity is jumping through the air. Needs no wire, right? Okay. The other thing is it's going through the glass. Now, as an engineer, I can tell you those are 2 things that you don't normally think about when you think about electricity. You don't think about it jumping through the air like that, and you don't think about it going through the glass. Now, not a very practical way to light a light bulb, but a demonstration of that high voltage electricity works differently than we expect it to. This is about 200,000 volts of electricity, okay? And the thought that I have, the thing that I'd like you to realize, is that if we can increase the spiritual energy, the spiritual voltage, as it were, we can have things happen differently than what we expect. So moving from the first level, the level of being plugged in, to level 2, did something different for Myrtle Fillmore, didn't it? It was moving to that second level did something different. We have the opportunity now to move to a third level, to raise our vibration. So how do we raise our vibration? Well, I've got a workshop this afternoon. How many people will probably be coming to the workshop, so we'll know? So maybe about 10, because we're going to be sitting in a circle, so that'll help me know how I want to arrange the chairs. So fine, gee, I came, but I don't have a chance to say for the workshop, what should I do? The answer is there are many ways to raise your vibration, many ways to raise your physical vibration. One way is, what was the first word? Happy. Do you notice how it makes you feel higher in vibration, better? To be happy, okay? Meditation, coming to service, being with other people who have higher vibrations. Prayer, smiling. There are many, many ways. Walking in nature. Anything that makes you happy, anything that it makes you feel expansive. Reading. Yeah. Playing the guitar, music. There are many, many ways. Many, many ways. Any way that you feel uplifted, any way you feel expansive, because feelings are the language of the soul. Feelings are the language of the soul. So your soul will tell you when your vibration is being raised. You can feel it. You can sense it. And when you're around people or watching the news, and you feel like you're not expanding, turn off the TV, change what you're doing, because our job, to put it in my language, is we're looking for the high voltage charger. You're not looking for the gas pump. You're looking for a different way of connecting. So when we do this, one of the things that happens is our auras become more light. There's more light in our auras. Our auras become stronger, and what is in the aura starts to come into the physical. So I want to kind of review the talk. The first word is
Happy.
And because we're changing from crystalline or from carbon-based to crystalline, we can vibrate at a higher frequency. Okay, so be happy. Our connection, everything we're looking for, is where? Inside. And the third is connect. And connect means to connect to spirit, to go walking in nature, to meditate, to do the things that help you connect more to spirit. Well, the talk is probably a little weird. So I'll tell you, if you're thinking this is a little weird, it's a little strange, weird. I want to mention that the word weird comes from the Old English and is spelled with a Y and means spiritual. So if you happen to feel weird or go to a weird talk where something weird is happening, consider the fact that it may be spiritual. One of the other things that I want to mention about the theory that I have is I don't think there's a downside. Is there a downside to being happy?
No.
So whether it works or not, be happy anyway. So the difference is that it's our spiritual practice. So I want to give you an update. As I say, my things change as time goes on. I just gave, this is part 1, I just gave the part 2 talk at our church on July 2nd. So what was my update on that? Well, from a reliable source that Carol and I have learned to trust over years, the golden age is already here. We're just not aware of it. And how do you think we become aware of it? Raising our vibrations. by raising our vibrations. So the second thing is, how long will it take us to become aware that the golden age is here? Because right now it's not looking too good. As one person said, right now the gold's looking kind of tarnished. And the answer for that is around 2 years. In about 2 years' time, hopefully, if enough of us spend some time and work on raising our vibrations, which means for a lot of us not watching the news or paying attention. Now, I live in the world, I'm human, I'm an engineer, so my background's engineering. So how as a mystic do I look at this, at what's happening out there in the world? And the answer is that it's like a pendulum. So the further the pendulum goes this way, when it's released, the faster and further it'll go the other way. So if things are looking not too good to you right now, and it's predicted to be a time of chaos, kind of root for it to get worse. Because that brings the pendulum further over and it will swing back further. And I'm joking about rooting for it, but a better position would be, don't get caught up in the drama, in the chaos, etc., and become unhappy. I think that pretty well covers the subject. Like the good engineer that I am, or my background in engineering, are there any questions? 3 words. Happy, inside, connect. So I look forward to those of you that can stay for the workshop, and for those that aren't able to stay for the workshop, I want to mention that we are all connected. It's very common to say that we're all one, but it's hard to think that way, because in the physical, it doesn't look like we're all one. It doesn't look like we're all connected. But the people who stay or the people who go will all add to our moving into awareness of the golden age by being happy, by doing the things that you enjoy. So, thank you very much.